I'm back with Brooke. We just met last week. I recorded a show on that entrepreneur show with my good friend Carlos Garcia. We did a special episode at the Crest community here in Tampa. And now I have the great opportunity of bringing Brooke on here to a mental health break. Brooke, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for joining me on a second show. I'm real excited for this one.
Yes, I am too.
Brooke's done so much. She's the founder of Brooke Sobh Nutrition. She went to FSU. Then she went on to UNF for her master's in dietetics. She's been a registered and licensed dietitian for 12 years and is also a certified lactation consultant. She's worked in several fields as a dietitian, but she is also a new mom. So we're going to dive
Right.
into the mental health side of not only the nutrition side of things, how to make your mental health improve through the foods you eat. I know firsthand if I give myself a cheat meal and it's too much of a cheat meal, I feel like crap. I don't feel
Yeah.
good. And I know you're going to help us with that. But also, and I'll give a big shout out to the past moms who came on this show. Lauren recently came on, Gabby and Maddie, they came on to talk about a lot of things. People like myself, a man who doesn't have a significant other or a kid, there's there's mental health challenges after the baby's born, not just before and during. So thank you for having the courage to come on the show, Brooke. And
Yes.
of course, before we get going, got to show love to our show partner, Tampa Counseling and Wellness. My good friend, Dr. Carlos Garcia, has been the show partner for about 2 years now, I want to say. They do a lot of great work over there, and they just added some new services to help more people. So be sure to head to tampacw.com if you feel like you need someone to talk to. But for today, it's all things Brooke. Brooke, please share your mental health story, anything you feel comfortable sharing, and you can start from wherever.
So, I've always actually had health anxiety. So, um, kind of like a hypochondriac, I could essentially make myself feel like I'm about to have a heart attack. So, I felt always on edge. This kind of started about 6 years ago. I was working in the ICU as a dietitian, and I would be reading the patient's notes about how they have trouble breathing or heart issues. And then I convinced myself that I was having the same issues, and I would literally have a panic attack every day. So I would have to go to my office, try to think through it, like ground myself as the counselors kind of taught me to do.
Right.
Um, but I also made trips to the ER because it just didn't work, And then, of course, they're saying, you just have anxiety. And I'm like, how do I just have anxiety? There's got to be something wrong. Like, it's not just anxiety, but it actually was. And I found that out because the doctor was eventually like, Brooke, we just need to put you on some kind of a medication. And I'm like, fine. And once I started taking the medication, I noticed that my life dramatically changed. I was more confident. I wasn't having the panic attacks. I wasn't sweating all the time, just like scared to do things or go to events and just be myself. So so yeah, I ever since then, I mean it's been 6 or 7 years now, and I'm still taking the same medication because it works perfectly for me. And I don't really have panic attacks anymore. So
Amazing.
yeah, I've had a lot of anxiety in the past, that's for sure.
Me as well. I think looking back as a kid, I may have had anxious moments. And after my accident, of course, that's when anxiety took a whole new meaning. And I get some of the things you're saying, the panic attacks, these things, they seem scary. And how is it just anxiety? But at first, we don't know what any of those feelings are. This anxiety is new. And you've also made great points there to find ways to work with your anxiety. Again, everyone out there, what works for some doesn't work for everyone. We're obviously going to touch on nutrition today, but in some cases, medicine does work very, very well. You hear Brooke today, she's thriving, she's smiling. And
Yeah.
while we're on this topic of Brooke, let's talk on the nutrition side of things. What are some things or foods, I should say, maybe some liquids that individuals can consume each day that might make their mental health feel a little better?
Yeah. So, first off, it's important to keep your blood sugar stable. So, you don't want to feel irritable or tired through the day. So, most of the time, people are skipping breakfast. And this is probably the worst thing you can do because then you eat a large lunch and then your blood sugar drops and then you feel sluggish. So, everybody talks about
Yeah.
like that 3 p.m., like like right now, we can take a nap pretty much. Well, that's because our blood sugar kind of wants to be nice and stable throughout the day. But when we skip breakfast and we have a large lunch, our blood sugar will spike and then drop, and then we feel completely irritable. So the biggest thing that we can do in terms of like timing of food is eating a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and always pairing a protein and a carb together every time we eat.
Okay.
Another, in terms of like specific foods that could help us, in terms of brain health, omega-3s are great because they're found in flaxseed, salmon, and olive oil, and they help with brain development. So even women that take prenatals for while they're pregnant, they have omega-3s in them for the brain development of the baby. And also probiotics. So probiotics are found in yogurt, and that's going to be good for your gut. And if we have a happy gut, we have a happy brain, because serotonin, which is the happy hormone, it's created in the gut. So we want to make sure that our gut and our brain are both happy.
Thank you. You definitely just taught me a few things. So I know there will be at least be someone else out there that has no idea what you were saying until you did. I was not someone who ever studied nutrition in school, professionally, and now I'm very grateful for having you come on the show today to share your expertise. We know that eating good foods can help us feel better, but there are a lot of ways to take care of our mental health. Everyone who follows me knows I'm a big fitness guy. In the morning, that's my mental health cheat for the day. If I don't get any form of exercise in, I'm just not thinking clearly. And again, everyone out there, that can mean taking a walk for you. That can mean lifting weights. That can mean any type of physical movement. But what are some things you like to do, Brooke, to improve your mental health?
So I agree with you. I think fitness is huge. I mean, it's not even about the aesthetics of it, but the way that we feel mentally afterwards. So every day I make an effort to give my brain something that makes it happy, and that's activity, just like you. So I love walking outside while listening to podcasts. And I also love getting a 2 mile run in when it's still dark outside before the sun's up. It just feels different when you're awake, when you think everybody else is sleeping. Like you just feel really accomplished, I think. So I love getting in the early morning workouts. And I also love playing beach volleyball. So I think a huge thing for me is if I don't play beach volleyball at least once a week, I get a little like resentful, because I'm like, I have kids and I have a husband, and you work full time, and it's hard to like keep your fun things in your life anymore because you're dedicating it to so many other things. So I had this talk with my husband, and I was like, I need something that still makes me feel like me. And I need my volleyball days with my friends, not with him, with my friends, to do my own thing. So I would say that too, just having like my own beach volleyball days, and then getting my workouts in first thing in the morning.
I love that. I'm typing this up in the notes for when this goes live in just a little bit. Recognizing you need that happy activity when
Yeah.
life gets busy. We all have a little bit of a kid in us. We all have some things that we always wish we still made time for. And it's easier said than done, of course, but being intentional with it, I think, is very important. And we were just talking about beach volleyball. I go to a beach nearby by my house. It's more of a private beach, but there are some volleyball courts on there. And I put up an Instagram story, and Brooke let me know about her passion for that. I certainly would love to play sometime. It does look like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was like, "Do you play? Because if you play, let's play. Like, what's going on?" But he's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, come
My
on."
height never gave me much the opportunity for a volleyball or a basketball, but that's not saying I wouldn't play. I think it's certainly a lot of fun.
Hey,
I
I'm 5'4" and I've played my whole life. You
love
can do
that.
it. You're
There
fine.
you go. Everyone out there, whatever hobby you've been neglecting over the last month, years, go out there and make some time for it this weekend. Brooke, we've had a great episode so far. I would love to shed more light on you. What are some more things we can know about you? Maybe a little more on your practice, if you'd like.
Well, what I do in my practice is I'm a dietitian, so I have my own business where I coach people how to eat the foods that they love but still lose weight. So keeping in that fun factor, just like you said, in order to make their life sustainable. So that's one of my biggest things. And that's what I do with most of my clients. When it comes to mental health, though, I feel like you become a counselor when you're a dietitian and you have your own practice. I feel like I talk to most of my clients about their feelings and emotions, and we get all into it. And just like I shared my story with the anxiety medication, you know, a big thing is that I don't want people to feel like it's um looked down upon to be on some kind of a medication. If something works for you, then do it. I mean, it is what it is. You take a pill for the rest of your life, whatever. But if it helps you live your most happy life and to be a confident person, then in my eyes,
Yeah.
what's the harm? Like it's going to be all around better for you. So that's something I also talk to my clients about as well. If they're open to it, then trying it if that's something that might help them.
I think you just made a beautiful point there. And I know Carlos is the same way. You are in the trenches as well. You're talking about your experiences with your clients. And I think that's so important. I forget who was on my show. We say he was like, $100 certificate online doesn't make you an expert in a subject matter. And I think that's more and more true. I got my degree in finance, MBA, but my direct fields are things of my firsthand experiences, things that I personally went through with my anxiety. I'm open about that with my traumatic brain injury. Then that led to entrepreneurship, which I have the other podcast for. And I want to help people through our stories and experiences learn a little easier path than
Yeah.
most of us entrepreneurs who went into this thing blind. But I really appreciate you sharing all that about your business. We'll touch on this again at the show's end, but where can we find you online? Where can we find all things Brooke?
Yeah. So I have a website. It's brookthedietitian.com. So dietitian is spelled Dietiitian. And then my Instagram is Brooke Sobh. My last name is Sobh and then RD at the end. So I share a lot of content on there. I make a lot of reels, kind of putting out my vibe and what I believe in and my passion, just so I can continue to keep things fun for my clients. So that's kind of where you can find me.
I love it. Everyone be sure to head to her website. But before we let her go, we are going to hop into this week's Spotlight story. And of course, as you can guess, it has something to do with nutrition, and it's called How to Boost Mental Health Through Better Nutrition. I'm going to introduce this story, then bring back our guest of honor. It is from the American Society of Nutrition. So we have a very reputable source here today. And it starts like this: the relationship between nutrition and mental health is bidirectional. The foods we eat affect our mental health, and our mental health status affects what and how well we eat. I touched a little bit on that, but it couldn't be more true. And to learn more about how the public views diet and mental health, the APA conducted a poll between March 16th and 17th, 2023, very recent, among a sample of 2,200 adults, and they found this: two-thirds, or 66% of adults surveyed, said they feel knowledgeable about the relationship between diet and mental health. 4 and 5, or a little over that, 81%, would be willing to change their diet in a way that positively impacts mental health. It's a pretty large number. Now, 4 and 10, 43% would be very willing to change their diet to improve mental health. And I think more and more folks out there are connecting the dots with how we eat affects how we feel, even in the gym. If I have a bad week with my eating, all that progress really goes to waste because everything is diet. A growing body of research points to the mental health benefits of a healthy diet, excuse me, and studies have identified particular benefits in addressing depression, and several studies point to the benefits of the Mediterranean diet, where a 2019 review published by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that increased fruit and vegetable consumption positively impacts psychological health, and daily vegetable consumption has a therapeutic impact by reducing symptoms of depression in people with clinical depression. We touched on a lot of great stuff here, Brooke.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to add? Anything that stuck out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I am a big advocate of mental health. I agree with you. As we keep our bodies healthy, then our minds are going to be healthy. So many people get stuck in the rut of their usual life and don't add in their fun things. And I think adding in your fun foods, but also being healthy, on the side, and then adding in your fun activities, but also working. Like we can't be all or nothing. We always have to make sure that we're adding in our exciting things in our life to keep everything sustainable.
It's so true. And that excitement looks different for everyone. And I encourage everyone to take that mental health day each week, or at least a half a day, just strictly to do things you enjoy. I've mentioned this before. My mental health day comes on Sundays during the NFL to watch my Jets, but that usually doesn't have the best effect on my mental health because they used to lose all the time. But as we're recording this, I mean, we're heading into our most optimistic season in a long time. So I'm all smiles and ready for this season. Brooke, I had a great time seeing you again. Thank you so
Yes,
much
thank
for
you
coming on
so
the
much.
show. It was a lot of fun. Everyone, be sure you get on the lookout now. For about a month from now, we'll have a collab episode with Carlos and I co-hosting that entrepreneur show. We brought on Brooke. The first episode with Shane Smith will be, I think he wants to release September 13th. So about every 2 weeks from there. If you don't know Shane, you got to know Shane Smith. He is helping those who are growing older, realizing, hey, I should have started a business. Now it's never too late to start a business, and he gives you the confidence to do that. Brooke, one more time, social media, website, everything before we sign off.
My Instagram is Brooke Sobh RD, BROOKESOBHRD. And my website is brookethedietitian.com.
All right, everyone out there, be sure to head to her website. And the show is at A Mental Health Break on social media and at Vincent A. Lancey. Be sure to head to Vincent A. Lancey on YouTube for a video podcast. I love how they finally have a real podcasting
That's
section
cool.
on YouTube. I wish that my hosting site would just automatically push it out to YouTube, but we're not there yet. I'm going to put it on both because this was such a great chat. And until next week here on A Mental Health Break, mental health champions, take care of yourself. Remember, you're not alone, and it is okay to not be okay. Brooke, thank you so much.
Thank you.